Movie Plots has so far taken us on a worldwide tour of amazing locations, from Austria to New York. The next breathtaking stop is right on our doorstep. The Lake District spans 800 square miles in the north of Great Britain, and you can see why 12 million visitors flock here each year. When Hollywood came to town, it was to tell the story of one of the biggest stars of the last century. More widely known than Harry Potter, more read about than James Bond. Not bad for a little creature in a blue coat. Thanks to Peter and his mates, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, Beatrix Potter has become one of the world's best-selling authors. Her 23 books, full of wonderful illustrations, delighted children when they were published, and they continue to do so generations later. But her own personal story stayed very much behind the scenes until the movie Miss Potter, starring A-lister Rene Zelwegger.
There's something delicious about writing the first words of a story. You can never quite tell where they'll take you. Mine took me here.
The opening scene of Miss Potter is right behind me. How magnificent is that? It's Loweswater, and this is one of the smaller lakes in the Lake District, but it wasn't the first choice of the filmmakers. That was rejected because of other problems, and they happened upon this place. Ben Barden is a local photographer who worked as a location manager for the film. Ben, how did I find this location?
Well, originally they were filming over at the other side of the valley, and due to inclement weather, on the Sunday morning, everything got shifted over here and we had to go and find a barn which was used down in the valley here, and this field was just above, and a little walk up and this view was there, and it just seemed like the ideal place.
So it was a last-minute decision?
Absolutely last minute. This was in the last half an hour of the last day of the reshoot.
Did you get to meet Rene Zelwegger?
I did. I got to work with her on a couple of days, particularly the scenes that we did around here, yeah.
She was a very funny choice to play the character, wasn't she? If you put a picture of them both together, you'd never imagine them meeting.
No, I think people were quite surprised when she was originally cast in the role, but I think she pulled it off beautifully.
Miss Beatrix, Miss Potter.
Is that you?
How good to see you.
Well, hello.
Many of the scenes featuring Miss Potter's time in the lakes are shot in and around the stunning location of Derwentwater. The house just over there has an absolutely magical setting. It's where Beatrix Potter is said to have spent some time and taken inspiration from the gardens there for Mr. McGregor's vegetable patch.
There he is. Oh, yes. Come on. Out of the way.
As a child in London, Beatrix spent most of her holidays here in a hotel overlooking the largest of the lakes, Windermere. In fact, she liked the hotel so much that when she achieved success later in life, she bought it for her mum. In fact, this is where she wrote two of her stories, Timmy Tiptoes and Pigling Bland. The location scout did visit looking for places to set scenes, but they rejected it, which is an awful pity, really. Another place they rejected was the real property Beatrix lived in for most of her life. Hilltop was the house that Beatrix Potter first purchased when she fell in love with the Lake District. Now, when it came to make a film about her life here, the producers really wanted to make it work on screen, but they couldn't quite get the angles right, so they went elsewhere. And this is where they went, Yew Tree Farm, a property which was also owned by Miss Potter. Not only now did they have the perfect house, but they also had the beautiful surrounding landscape to paint their picture.
Not a bad outlook, Miss Potter.
It's sublime.
Although they did have to do a little paint job first before they could get going. Yew Tree is a working farm and guest house run by Caroline Watson and her family. So while Rene Zelwegger was pressing around outside, you had people sitting in here having their breakfast, watching Hollywood live in action.
Absolutely, we had a guest in watching her in the front garden while they were having their bacon and egg, yeah.
Morning, Miss Cannon.
Miss Potter.
Why, they've grown.
The impression given in the movie is really quite different of the reality. This was seen to be an isolated farmhouse that you had to maybe walk across hills to get to. You walked in through a vegetable garden, and then there was a flower garden. How was all that achieved?
They had many, many different scenes filmed on the property. From different angles, it looks completely different. So I guess it's just clever filming, isn't it? And they managed to get some long shots from the top of the hill, which made it look quite remote, you know, covered over the fact that we're quite close to a road. And they had just different shots with different backdrops, and it looks a completely different location from every angle, really. And
what do people want to know about when they come and visit?
They want to know whether we met Rene Zelwegger. I think Hollywood still has quite a hook.
Did you?
Yes. She was lovely, really lovely. Very down to earth and, you know, nice actress. And,
that's really boring. Can you give me
I'm sorry, there's no, there's no gossip at all. What the film brought was that it's renewed interest in Beatrix Potter, which I think is really important. And I also think that a lot of people didn't appreciate Beatrix Potter had another life after the little books, and that she was a conservationist, and she made such a difference to such a large area of Britain.
Most of the gardens I've seen in the series have been natural wonders. This one, however, is a wonder of a different kind. It was all an illusion. Matt Campbell is the man responsible for it.
This garden didn't exist. There were very few borders here. When they first took on the location, this wall didn't exist, this stone wall through the middle of the garden, and there was nothing beyond that. So what we actually brought in was a lot of shrubbery to the front garden, and we dressed in borders basically that ran the whole way around this, and then infilled those with artificial colour and various things to give you that summer look. We clad the front with fake roses and you know, dressed roses all across the front of the building. Beyond the wall there was a call for a vegetable garden, so we organised, I think we brought in 45 tonnes of topsoil, put a membrane down, laid the topsoil down, and then built our veg garden on top of that.
Can you tell me some tricks of the trade?
We're often found up trees, wiring blossom onto trees at various times of year. We carry a stock of fake autumn leaves, real green leaves, so we're up and down trees wiring things on. Changing the seasons for people is another thing we do a lot.
Another garden that's not a film set but a star in its own right is Rydal Mount. Beatrix Potter wasn't the only writer who was drawn to live in this part of the world. This is the house of William Wordsworth. And something I didn't know, when he wasn't busy wandering, lonely as a cloud, he was a garden designer. The garden is stunning, and apparently it's the same now as it was when Wordsworth designed it. Wordsworth really believed that gardens should harmonise with the natural landscape, and he practiced what he preached, because in his own garden he's created a series of terraces that are linked by wonderful curvaceous serpentine pathways, and finally he takes the views beyond the garden of that great lake and brings it in to the overall scene. Heavenly. It's been hugely inspiring to come to the Lake District, get to spend some time here and understand why artists and illustrators and filmmakers would flock here to create, because the inspiration is all around you.